Guys, I'm excited for this video. 13.3 is just around the corner, and I've done a bit of dirty research here, mate. I've dived into the depths of the stat websites and pulled out some builds that some of you hopefully just won't know about and will be super surprised by and excited by, because these are actually just OP. It's just that not many people know about them. Now, of course, we'll have some popular builds here because some of them are just like giga busted. I can't make a broken builds video without mentioning them. And what's up, guys? This is Eags, also known as the Jizz in these parts. And speaking about Jizz, guys, Valentine's Day is kind of just around the corner as well. So if you really want to make it special for your favorite ego or just yourself, what you can do is get 50% off on our website at GameLeap.com, and all you have to do is sign up. It's as simple as that. That's half price for our massive library of content, and guess what? That's Challenger tier content. Like, if you don't improve from watching one of my VOD reviews, I'll be amazed. So guys, make the 14th of Feb super special and join thousands of your fellow summoners by signing up to the best league content on the internet. Now, speaking of best content, let's get into this video. So we're going to start by, well, there's no real order here. So I'm going to start by talking about Pantheon, right? Now, I mentioned in yesterday's video how Pantheon is going to be super broken because of the changes that are going to hit him. So in 13.3, Pantheon's Comet Speed, or Q, the mana cost is going down. The cooldown is going down by 2 seconds early game to 1 second late game, or the more points you have on your Q. And also your attack speed is going up, the base stat of this. This is really important for Pantheon, right? Whether you're playing him support, mid, or top lane. But specifically here, his best role is going to be in the mid lane. Now, as far as the build goes, right? So we've talked about the Pantheon buffs. The build that I want you guys to go is Eclipse into Black Cleaver. Now, to be honest, it's nothing really like new, but Eclipse and Black Cleaver, this pairing has been buffed massively by Riot in the last patch. So Eclipse, the fact you're getting ability haste, incredible for Pantheon. Remember, your Comet Spear's cooldown is going down as well in 13.3, so Eclipse adds more haste on top of that, and also really helps your Ground Skyfall, because in the mid lane, you're in the middle of the map. You can use your ultimate, whether it's out of base or from the mid lane itself, to influence any area of the map. Top lane, jungle, bot lane. It's an incredibly powerful solo queue setup. And then with Black Cleaver, because you're getting more attack damage and HP from the item, it is an unreal second major item on Pantheon. So Pantheon mid lane, guys, if you want to dumpster pretty much every melee champion, this is the champ to abuse for free LP next patch, and honestly, at the moment as well. Now, moving on, talking about Black Cleaver, the Black Cleaver rush. Now, who are you going to be rushing Black Cleaver on? Don't you want to rush a Mythic? Well, if you're playing Alawi, Black Cleaver is amazing on her, right? Because of the kite it gives you and also the armor shred. It's so broken, and that's really because of the buffs from last patch, just like I mentioned for Pantheon, right? More attack damage, more HP. Alawi frosts it, and in the top lane at the moment, her win rate is, well, just gone up heaps, and she's one of the strongest champions in the game, not just in the top lane. I even think we might see her in pro play because she is so good. As far as your Mythic item goes, you do have a bunch of options. You can opt for like Divine Sundra, but honestly speaking, like with Black Cleaver, the HP, just take Frostfire Gauntlet. You're going to be unkillable, and you're still going to have plenty of damage because you're Black Cleaver Alawi. Now, the final top laner to really discuss here, this is Gangplank. Now, I know there's been lots of talk about GP with like Infinity Edge and Navoria Quickblades getting buffed, right? So they're proccing off 40% crit now. Well, that is actually just pretty much the build here. So what you're going to be doing is going Essence Reaver, which also got buffed, so 10 more attack damage. Okay, like it's more of an adjustment because it's 2,900 gold and not 2,800 gold anymore. So this spike is even better, and because yes, Navoria is proccing off 40% crit, the 20% crit from Essence Reaver, then Navoria itself, your cooldowns, so your Q and your E in particular, these are going to go down because of Navoria's passive, and it's a huge 2-item spike for GP. You can see these stats are from Master Above in Korea, and if you ever see any of these graphics, that's what they're from, so Master Above in Korea. And if we just look to the left for a second as well, guys, if you're running First Strike as your keystone, if you're running Bone Plating and Overgrowth, or Second Wind and Overgrowth as your secondary tree, you're going to go very quickly if you start like D-Shield and Health Pot, right? So if you're starting D-Shield and Health Pot, which is actually kind of meta at the moment, no longer Corrupting Pot, make sure you take Biscuits. Lots of people will get baited here to take Futures Market, but you'll be out of mana before you can say, yo, that was absolutely terrible. I'm so sorry for doing that. I actually cringed IRL myself, but hopefully you get my drift there. You can also take Grass the Undying if you're not confident of actually using the First Try tech. Just food for thought there, but Navori GP has to be in this video. Now, moving down to the bot lane here, we've got actually 3 champions, so I'm kind of excited to talk about these. Now, the first one, you can see this graphic, Master and Above in Korea, right, for Draven. Now, what's interesting here is that going Essence Reaver first item, yeah, and then getting an Infinity Edge second. So I know that in recent videos anyway, when I talk about Draven, I mention Eclipse, right? It's actually still like really good for Draven because of the lethality you get. You will be one-shotting pretty much everyone, but unfortunately, you lost Omnivamp. And Omnivamp for Draven, because you'll be dealing so much damage, right, it is very useful. But with the new Infinity Edge, like I just mentioned for GP, right, proccing off 40% of your crit, the passive, it's huge for Draven, and just like I mentioned for GP as well, Essence Reaver is giving you more attack damage. So these first 2 items, huge. They might even be the biggest 2-item spike in the game, but the real reason Draven is on here is because of what you should go next. Prowler's Claw. Why are you going Prowler's Claw? Because you're getting lethality, and you're getting also movement speed from the passive. Now, the active, honestly, like, it's more useful than you think. Like, how often are you going to be using Prowler's Claw on a ranged champion? But Draven, because you deal so much damage, like, you can just use this to gap close to people, and it's almost like you become an assassin. I don't know if you guys have actually tried this out or seen it. Make sure you let us know in the comments if you have, but try this out. You will actually understand what I'm saying here, and it is super broken on him. You'll be one-shotting every single champion on the Rift, so Draven is the first of 3 AD carries. Now, moving on, this next AD carry, kind of interesting here, because I know lots of people at the moment, if you're playing Ezreal, you're probably going Essence Reaver into Navori, right? Which is good. Like, that's probably what you should be building because of the Navori changes, and especially the Essence Reaver changes, right? They're very important. But what's interesting here, and I'm going to show you this stat right here. Look at this. Essence Reaver, Navori, Gale Force. Now, I know that in Master and above here, it's only picked in 205 games, less than 1%, but the win rate is 71%, and you can change this to anything you want. Like, you can filter this to Challenger career, Master career, you can filter this to Diamond and above across the world. This actually has the best win rate when you're going Essence Reaver and Navori. That's getting a Gale Force 3rd item. Now, it sounds completely ridiculous, right? But the reason it's so good is because it just gives you another bit of mobility, gap closing, kill threat. Like, all of those things are useful for Ezreal. Also, the movement speed is really useful. Like, you're legit going to be untouchable, and you will still deal really good damage over the period of a team fight, right? Because of the ability haste you're getting from your first 2 items, Essence Reaver and Navori. So guys, please test this out in your games. And again, if you have tried any of these kind of wacky builds out, I mean, that's what they look like, right? Let us know in the comments and tell everyone else how broken they are. Now, moving on, the last AD carry to talk about. I was kind of like tempted to mention Jhin here, but I think a better champion in terms of building lethality is Misfortune. Now, Master and above in career, it doesn't really look too impressive, right? Less than a 4% pick rate, 50% win rate, but the actual build that is better on Misfortune now, if you look on the bottom left, right, the rune page with Dark Harvest and everything else you can just copy down, and over 140 games, a 52% win rate at least. Now, this is significant. This is not 14 games, it's over 140 in the hardest region in the world. If you look at the bottom right for me, this is the build you're going with this rune page. It looks completely absurd, right? Like, why are you going to be building this? Like, Crit just got buffed. Why am I not going Kraken Slayer into Infinity Edge? Why am I not going BT into Infinity Edge with, like, Overheal or something like this? Well, you might want to next patch because Overheal is getting buffed, but I'm telling you guys, the best build at the moment is this on your screens. Duskblade, Axiom Arc. Axiom Arc also recently got buffed, right? And then with Duskblade, you deal an incredible amount of damage on MF, and not many people are actually doing it. Like, in high elo, they're doing it, but no one else. Like, you can actually check games on YouTube if you want to. You can type in Misfortune Challenger or something like that, and you can watch the best Korean players try this build. So again, another super fun setup for another AD carry. Now, heading into the mid lane here, I've got 3 builds for you guys, okay? The first of these is going Electrocute Lethality Jace. I know lots of people, right, are going to be going Conqueror. Stop going Conqueror in the mid lane. How many times are you going to be hitting the enemy champion with auto attacks, right? Probably not a lot, yeah? Especially if you're against ranged champions. So if you look at your screens for me, Master and above in career in the mid lane, the Electrocute page, even though it's in less than 20 games, I get it. But even if it's 20 games, I don't care. Every game matters in this elo. And you have close to a 60% win rate. And it's not troll by any means. Like, we can work this out, right? Electrocute on Jace, why is it good? Bursty. You're going to be able to access the enemy mid laner as well. Also with Mana Flow and Transcendence, you're not going to run and Transcendence gives you a lot of ability haze, which will scale into a game, right? And because you'll have great scaling from Eclipse and the Mythic passive with a Mana Mune, and then third item, you can go anything really, Edge of Night like it's recommending here, Ghostblade, or Serylda's Grudge, either or. Jace, I think, is actually just better in the mid lane, guys, statistically anyway, and that's in every single elo. You don't just have to trust this to Master and above in career, it has to work. Every single elo, you're better playing this guy in the mid lane. So test this out in your games and see if you actually want to add this to your champion pool. Now, another build that's just like compulsory for me to mention is Rod of Ages and Seras. And I know, you know, I'm not going to go on about this too much, guys, but we know that ever since Riot buffed Rod of Ages and Seras at the start of the season, Ryze, Anivia, Kassadin, these mana mages, they are frothing it, and they will continue to froth it. Now, I understand Kassadin's getting nerfed in 13.3, but the build itself is still ridiculously good on these champions. They have the highest win rates, and they're the best mid laners, so yeah, keep on playing them. No reason not to. Maybe not Kassadin, though, we'll have to see how big the nerfs are. Now, speaking of OP mid laners, the last one is mid Tristana. So we've mentioned Jace, there's another attack damage one here, also Pantheon as well actually, whoops, forgot about him. But yes, Tristana in the mid lane, I've mentioned this in previous videos, it's just a massive cuck to every champion you play in the mid lane. You have to play super precisely against her. I just want to touch on something here. Yes, you don't have to actually go like Infinity Edge or even Navori as your second item. You can still opt for something like Kraken Slayer into Collector or Gale Force into Collector, but also I just want to point out here that taking Demolish in your secondary tree, right, with Bone Plating. Bone Plating means that you can like never lose a trade, and with Hail of Blades, as soon as you jump in with your rocket jump. Notice that Tristanas are starting with their W. That's important to note. You have so much pressure in the lane, and because you should be able to like outshove pretty much anyone, and because of all that pressure, you should easily be able to access the enemy tower, which is where Demolish comes into play. Especially when you get that attack speed steroid from your Q ride, your explosive charge as well can proc on towers. It's huge. It's going to accelerate the game's pace, give you more gold because you should be able to get the first tower, and it is so snowbally. So Tristana, guys, have her in your mid champion pool. If you see a really weak and mobile mage picked on the enemy team, maybe something like a Twisted Fate, someone who can't knock you back, you will destroy them. So Tristana is the second to last champion mentioned in this video. The last one, guys, and if you are enjoying our Season 13 content, make sure you leave a like down below. The last one is Demonic Embrace Maokai. Wow, what an anti-climax say. Like, just an absolute boner killer. I don't know why I said that either, by the way. That just came out. Sorry about that. But yeah, Demonic Embrace, right? It got nerfed last patch. Maokai got nerfed last patch as well. But this patch, none of them are getting nerfed. And even though Maokai did get nerfed and Demonic Embrace, his win rate is still like 53%. Like, I don't know why Riot aren't nerfing the champion, but guys, this is the final build. Like, it's just that simple. Whether you're going Radiant Virtue, and Radiant Virtue actually is getting changed next patch. 200 more gold it's costing. But what's interesting is that it's better for champions building HP. Now, for Maokai, you might consider going Leandries, right? But when you go Radiant Virtue, you are going like just kind of off tank, I guess, with Demonic, Radiant Virtue. You might even think about items like maybe Morello's Horizon Focus gives you HP. It's actually really fun to try out. Give it a try. But Demonic Embrace Maokai, kind of like the Rod of Ages and Seras champions, they have to be mentioned, guys. They are that broken. So those were the 10 best builds and champion combinations for 13.3. Any questions, leave them in the comments section. And until our next Season 13 upload, guys, remember, 50% off for Valentine's Day on our website, yeah? Sign up. And yes, this has been X. Peace.